Hi everybody, and welcome to my Stamperia Songs of the Sea mini album tutorial series designed for Scrap and Create. The products that I am using today from the Stamperia Songs of the Sea collection are listed in the description box below, so you can click on those links to go to the Scrap and Create website to purchase those products and follow along. And there are also links to some products available in my Etsy shop, so if you would like to purchase those, you can click on those links too. Stay tuned for the tutorial. In today's video, we're going to begin decorating page 2. So I have page 2 here in front of me. The first pieces that I'm going to cut, I'm using the 8x8 paper. I've cut 2 very small pieces. These measure 5/8 by 2 inches. I'm going to place one of these here and one here on this little band, on the belly band, on the top and the bottom. Then from this 12x12 paper, I've cut the top left corner to 7 inches by 4.5 inches, and I'm going to slide this one underneath the belly band and place it here on the background. From this 8x8 paper, I started here and I cut this 2 3/4 by 3 inches. This piece is going to go here. Then from this corner, I cut this 2 3/4 by 3 inches. This is going to go here. From here, I cut from this side 3 inches by 4.5. Then I cut this to 3 1/4 and 1 1/4. This one I'm going to place here, tucking inside the pocket, and this one is going to go here. But before I put this one on, I need to make my little swing tab to hold this closed. So I'm going to remove these pieces for now. I'm going to place this one where I want it to go. Then I've got my chipboard binoculars. I've pierced a hole with my piercing tool already down through the center of this gear. Now I'm going to place this here. If you want to see what this is going to look like so you know where to place your piece, this is going to be here on the front. So then I'm going to take this down through that hole and pierce that hole in my paper. And it is about, from the end of my paper, about 1/2 inch and up about 1 1/8 inches. Then I'm going to just pierce this. I'm going to take my brad and place it through my chipboard piece first, and then down through my paper. And then I'll go ahead and open this to the back side. Now it's ready to adhere this piece down, this piece here, this piece inside, and this piece here. Now that I have all of my papers put on for the inside, I have 2 of my little cut apart cards from the 8x8 papers, and I'm just going to stick these right inside of here so they can be used as journaling cards or they can be used as photo mats. Then I've cut one piece of cardstock to 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. This is a piece from the 12x12 paper. It is a leftover piece from the box that I decorated because I've actually decorated the box first. Now, you're probably not at that point yet where you've decorated the box, but that's okay. This is from the bottom corner of the paper, or it could be, maybe it's the top corner, but it's the corner of the paper, and this piece measures 2.5 by 3.5. I'm going to place it here on the front of my photo mat. And then from my 8x8 paper pad, I've cut out the mermaid kisses and starfish wishes, and I'm going to place it here in the center on the front. Then flipping over from this paper, this is the 8x8 paper. I have another piece that's 3.5 by 2.5. You can use whichever side you want. I think I'm going to use the lighter side here, and I'm going to place it here. Then once this is finished, I'm going to add it to my pocket. So this is my little photo mat that I'm going to place in here in the pocket. I'm going to close this and hold everything shut with my swing tab. Then I have from my photo mat that I already cut for behind the belly band, I've taken this paper here. This is from the 12 by 12 paper, and I cut a piece to 4 inches by 6 inches. I'm going to place this here on the back of the paper. Then from the collectibles, I cut one of the little bottles, and I'm going to adhere this down here. So you can adhere it straight, you can adhere it sideways, you can leave this off if you want to, but I'm going to adhere just the side down so that a photo can tuck behind it. Then from this 8 by 8 paper, we already cut a small piece for the first flap. I cut over 6 inches here, but I stopped actually right at the tail. So 6 inches will be on the other side of the tail. I stopped before I cut through her tail. Then I cut down 4 inches, but the same thing, I stopped before I cut her tail. So I'm going to take my fussy cutting scissors and cut the rest of this around her tail. And I'm going to have this hang off the mat. And I think it should work okay when I go to put it in the album. If not, I will just cut this off and it'll work okay. But I'm hopeful once I get this on, I'll be able to see this. So I'm gonna come back after I put these on and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this piece. This is the back side. So now I'm going to take the front side, and I think it's going to just be a little bit too much actually. So what I'm going to do is trim her tail, and I'm going to make it more of a, just like a pointed, kind of like this. So it's a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to curl this up a little bit. So then it'll just hang off a little bit, and it should be fine with that 1/2 inch page extension whenever this is actually placed in the album. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on that front of my photo mat, and then I'm going to place my photo mat underneath that belly band. Here's my photo mat, and it's just going to go right up here. I'm going to push this all the way towards the top so it actually stays right on that page. So I think that's the best bet of it staying on my page and not getting damaged. If you don't like the look of that, you can just cut it off and it'll be fine too. So this is it for the front side. I'm going to flip over upside down and we'll begin on the back side. I'm going to start on the inside for the back of page 2. Now the first thing I did was place my magnets. It's about 3/4 of an inch over and 1/2 inch down from the edge. Placed one and then put my magnet on top. Made sure that I folded everything over and then closed to place my second magnet. Now I am going to use one 12 by 12 sheet to cover this entire surface. I'm using this 12 by 12 paper. The first thing I did was cut from the bottom 9 1/4 inches. Then I cut over from the left 7 inches. And then I cut 2 pieces that are 4 5/8 of an inch. This piece is going to go here, and I'm not going to do anything to it besides lay it right down on the page. This piece is going to go here, but I'm going to come in here and cut this, so I'll come back in just a second. Now this piece I cut, it was one piece, I cut to 4 1/2 inches. This one is going to go down here at the bottom. We're going to cut into this one. This one's going to just go on as is. So this one and this one are going to just be glued down. This piece, 4 1/2 inches. And this piece, I'm going to cut along here and make a tuck spot for some tags. just like I'm going to cut along this chest to make a tuck spot for a photo mat. Then here and here you can place photos, you can leave the paper however you would want. Now for these pieces, you can use your fussy cutting scissors, you can use a straight edge. I'm going to try out this Stamperia ceramic pen and see what I think. So I'm going to be cutting this from her head here. And I'm just going to follow her hair. It doesn't have to be exact, but I want it to look okay because like I said, this is going to have tags tucked into it. So you'll see that part and then the tags will be tucked behind here. So that's going to be for there. And then for this one, I'm going to go along this chest. And then when I get down here, I'm actually going to continue here because I've cut this card from my 8x8 paper and I want this to fit here. So I need this to actually allow this to fit underneath of it. So that's where I need to go down all the way to that white piece. So I'm just going to use my ruler so that I have a straight line here. It didn't cut all the way through. I'm not sure what I think about this pen yet. Tried it a couple different times and I just don't know. I think I like my fussy cutting scissors better. I have better control. So now I'm going to just test this and make sure, perfect. So it does fit right inside of there. So once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. And so when you adhere this piece down, you need to make sure that you don't put any adhesive. So let me see, if I use a pencil, you're probably not going to see this, but you should be able to get the idea. So I don't want any adhesive in this section here. And then the same thing with this. I don't want any adhesive in this section here because I want to be able to tuck my tags behind her. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these pieces on, then I'll come back and show you the tags we're going to tuck inside. So I mentioned that I was going to use this one from the 8x8 paper, and I'm going to place it down here. Then I've also cut the little circle piece from the 8x8 paper, and I'm going to place it in here as well. And then up here, I've cut two of the little tag pieces from the 8x8, and I'm going to place those in there like this. So you can add more if you want to. The smaller card, this size card will also fit in here, but I'm going to leave this as is and fold this up. Then I'm going to add a piece here, and then we'll add a piece here, and then we'll come into here. I'm going to cover this inside flap. I have this leftover scrap that I cut from a previous piece. it's 5 inches long. So from the bottom, I've cut this to 4.5 inches, and I'm going to place this one here. Now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to place another magnet on my page, because if I just close this now, it's going to have a pucker here, and I don't like the look of that. So I'm going to take this magnet, and I'm going to actually place it here. And this is about 1 inch from the edge and about 3/4 of an inch from the top. Then I'll place my coordinating magnet and close my page to place this magnet. Then from this piece, I cut down from the top to 4.5 inches, and I'm going to place this piece here. From the 8x8 paper, I cut this sentiment, and I'm going to place this here, covering my magnet. Once the magnet is covered, I can go ahead and flip that page up to close it, and now we'll come here and decorate this front part. From the 12x12 paper, I've cut one piece to 5 1/4 by 4 1/2. I'm going to adhere this here to this side of the page. Then I'm going to place adhesive on top and bottom and close this into a pocket. Then I've cut this. It's from this paper here, and I cut one piece to 1 3/4 by 4 1/2, and I'm going to place this here on the front of my pocket. I'm going to add a thin line of adhesive here and here. I do have some room because my photo mat is only 4 inches and this pocket is a little bit wider than that. So I don't have to be super careful like I had to on the one pocket that we did on the previous page. But I want to make sure that this isn't too much adhesive so that I do have a nice width for my pocket. Once that's on, I'm going to take my chipboard piece. I'm going to bend this so it's as flat as I can get it. And then I'm going to place this here like this. So only the right half of my piece is going to have some adhesive on it. So I want to be careful and make sure that I don't put adhesive on the part that is on the mermaid scales. That way I can get my photo mat to slide behind it when I make it. And so it'll still tuck behind that pocket. But I want this to adhere down to this. And since it is curved right now, I'm going to set something heavy on this, and I'm going to come back after this is dry, and we'll finish the page. While I'm waiting for that chipboard piece to dry and adhere to the page, I'm going to work on my photo mat, 6 inches by 4 inches for the cardstock. On the back side, I'm going to place just this piece from the 12x12 paper. It is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. So it's going to go here on the back side. And then this paper, it is also from the, no, it's actually from the 8x8. So this is the 8x8 paper, and it is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to place this on the front side. From the 8x8 papers, I've cut this little Mermaids Have More Fun circle, and I'm going to adhere it down here, but I'm only going to adhere that right side and the bottom portion so that the photo can tuck behind it if needed. And I'm just going to put it down here so that the edges are right at the edge of that wooden paper. Then I've got some of my coins from my adhesive cutouts, and I'm going to take 2 of these and apply them here at the top. Put this one down here. So then I will adhere those down. And then on the front side, I cut from the Collectables paper the octopus, and I'm going to place that right here on this side. I'm going to take my photo mat and slide it right here underneath my chipboard piece. And I'm going to take my adhesive and apply a little bit more here. I don't think I had enough adhesive there, so I'm going to place this so that it is adhered down. And then while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to take one of my charms from the pack from Scrap and Crate, and I'm going to adhere it down to the front of my chipboard piece. Then once that's done and this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my pearls and my gems, and I'm going to decorate the front sides of both sides of page 2. For the front of my page, I've just added some pearls here, and then I've taken my 3 gear charms from the bundle that came with Scrap and Crate and adhered them, and I put some gems in the center. And then for the back side, I've added my pearls around this outside edge, and I've added another gear, and I've added another pearl in the center there. Now that I have my page finished, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the second hinge. So just like with the first hinge, I'm going to adhere both sides down at once. So placing adhesive on just this top 1/2 inch section of the front side and the back side, making sure not to go down past that score line. Then I'm going to apply my page right over top. So opening up my page to get it onto my hinge first, then slide the page down until it gets to that score line, and it shouldn't be able to go any further than that. I'm going to adhere that down on that side. I'm going to open this up to make it a little bit easier to see on this side, and then press this down to close the page onto my hinge. So now we have the second page in our book. And this is the end of this tutorial. So in the next tutorial, we're going to begin working on page 3 of our album. I'll see you in the next tutorial.